This is a video response to a God denialist who calls himself tooltime9901. I'll show bits of his video series and then my response to them.
So by popular demand, this is Pedophilim fail.
Your hatefulness doesn't speak well of atheism, your worldview, or anything else that you have to say. Why must atheists be so utterly hateful? You know, instead of just saying, you know, I think you're an idiot or something, why do they have to be so outright hateful? Instead of, you know, making a criticism, or even calling somebody a name. Why do they have to go there, you know, and make such a statement as that? Doesn't that kind of convey the real mindset of atheists right there? I think it does. I think it's just another example of why atheism is evil.
So you have special, secret, esoteric information that other people don't have.
If by other people you mean atheists, yes.
Okay, let me explain something to you, NephilimFree. If you make an argument that somebody else could take the exact same argument and just swap out which God they're talking about and use it against you,
they would fail.
And you wouldn't find the argument convincing yourself.
Why should I? I'm informed.
You shouldn't use it. For example, if I were to say, well, you know, I have secret knowledge of Zeus, you know, I possess this secret knowledge which makes me know something that you don't know.
You could get to know Zeus if you wanted to. And guess what? Zeus is the same fella as Thor. And you can take all the mythologies, the pantheons of gods and demigods around the world, compare them, and you'll find they're the same gods. They have the same symbols, they perform the same acts, they have the same personalities. What you don't understand is something that you haven't investigated. I really think that you're completely uninformed about this subject. I mean, truly, really uninformed. Because, you see, all these pantheons of gods around the world, they're angels whom God threw out of heaven for the crime of pride. The same crime that prevents you from acknowledging your Creator. So you could have a relationship with Zeus if you want to. He's a real person. I wouldn't suggest it, because the esoteric knowledge you would get from him would lead you into wicked things.
If you would be not convinced by that, then why would you expect anybody else to be?
Well, I can expect some to be interested and others not to be. You see, that depends on the individual. I can expect those who are interested in learning things, who are intellectual, and who are not diametrically opposed to God, to be interested in learning about things relating to God and the history of the world. However, I don't expect ardent God denialists such as yourself, who continually spout out anti-reason, to be interested in learning anything about the truth or the history of this world from anything other than talkidiots.com or some other God denialist source, or from secular education, which has been proven wrong on so many counts by creationists that it's just not even funny anymore. You might as well take your history book and throw it in the garbage, because the timeline they have for the world is completely fallacious. However, you see, there's a willingness, some have a willingness to understand, and others have no willingness to understand. It's called a reprobate mind. The Word of God tells us about it. So I wouldn't expect you, no, I don't expect you to be interested in learning anything. And as proven so many times by the people that I've encountered and others I see who encounter Christians and have tons of information provided to them, they just continuously deny. Nothing goes in their head. Nothing will stick. It's like putting an atheist, and one like yourself, into a room full of Coca-Cola cans and saying, "What Coke cans? I don't see any Coke cans. There's no evidence for God." Now, they won't say no evidence. There's some evidence for God. They say no evidence for God. None. Zero, right. Zero evidence. There is no evidence for God. No, there's none! None! Now, here's something you didn't realize, of course. There have been plenty of people interested in the things I have to say. Plenty. I've received messages from people who are atheists who say, you know what, I don't believe anything you're saying. How could such and such be true? And I take the time to message them back and forth because they demonstrated first a willingness to learn, a curiosity. Not just a denialism up front, an argumentative attitude, but an interest in learning. And I've provided them plenty of information. And you know what? Some of those people I never heard from again. I've seen some of them change their websites and start putting creationist videos on their channels. I've also had people message me back and say, you know what, I can't deny it anymore. It looks like this is the truth. Can you provide me more evidence or information about such and such? I want to learn more about such and such. I've had people come to God, come to the truth, the realization, because of the work I do. And guess what? I'm not alone. There are lots of other Christians out there, like Gear Up and Philo71 and the Truth Group. And, oh man, I can't name them all. Lots of people. Karen's Faith. And Neptali81. I could list you dozens perhaps, of other Christians who are bringing people to Christ with information about God and about this world. Dozens. If you think nothing is happening outside your little world here, if you know, I have news for you. You're living in a little shoebox, okay? Because people are coming to Christ all the time, constantly, and people like myself and some of the Christians that I pointed to, that I named, are helping people who have an interest in learning, who are willing to be intellectual and not just emotionally deny God outright. Are learning about God and coming to Jesus Christ and to the reality of things. And I've actually had a message from one person say, you know what, I feel like my eyes have been opened. I feel like I'm enlightened now because I see how clearly, you know, what you're telling me, what the things that you've shown me are the truth. I cannot believe I was so deceived. I've heard that more than once. So, you know, what's going on in your little shoebox down in there is not what's going on in the world. That's just what's going on in your head. There's a whole world of things going on around you. You know, people are converting to Christianity all the time. But those who do are those who are intellectual about it, who are interested in learning the truth, whatever the truth may be. They're interested in learning it. But you see, ardent atheists are not intellectual. They emotionally deny God because they hate God and His moral law. So it's an emotional thing for them. It's not intellectual. And you're conveying some of that right now because some of the information that you've been provided, that you're arguing against in this video series of yours, has been provided to you by probably quite a few Christians and creationists. And you know what? There is so much evidence for God right here on YouTube alone and for creation that anybody who was to... I'm going to take a wild guess here and say anybody who has viewed 20 or 30 creationist videos or Christian videos describing God and His mercy and His justice and still turn around and say, I say there is no evidence for God. Not, well, it seems like there might be some. Let me look into that a little more, you know, or how can, or well, if that's true, how can such and such be true? But I'm talking about people like yourself who say there's still say no evidence for God. Proves unequivocally that you're not rejecting God for intellectual reasons. You're doing it for emotional ones. And that's not intellectual. That's really not worth much anything, is it?